What is going on, my Guardian Gamers? Is I, Byrdman, back with another Destiny 2 build. Today I'm going to be showing off a really solid, more endgame focused Prismatic Titan build. This is going to be for anything like just want to do solo endgame activities, or even, even moving on to a lot of the GM stuff that we're going to be getting in the next couple weeks, especially GM Excision. This is a really solid setup to not only help yourself with healing, but also your teammates as well. But before I get into everything here, know you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Byrdman778. Give a thumbs up on the video. Let me know some you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's Titan Hunter or Warlock. Again, those two things specifically really help us out on the channel, so definitely please do that. Subscribe and become a member. Make sure you're checking the dim link down below in the description, and also check out my maxroll.gg page, where there's a lot of different Destiny 2 builds there from other great creators. Now, let's jump right on into it. Now, as always, we like to start off with the exotic for this setup, and that's going to be Precious Scars. This is actually a really solid end game. I'd probably say S tier exotic for Titan. It reads Kintsugi. Final blows with weapons with a damage type matching your super create a burst of healing around you that grants allies restoration after reviving or being revived. You gain an aura that provides overshields to you and nearby allies. Now, the biggest reason why this is solid is the fact that every time you just kill an enemy, you're immediately going to start healing with that restoration. So obviously in end game scenarios, whenever you're like low -20 whatever light, some stuff like that, you are obviously always going to be taking a lot more damage from even like the most basic enemies. So being able to instantly get that health back is really nice. When it comes to the prismatic subclass, starting off with our super, we like to use Twilight Arsenal. Out of the 5 that we have available here, this is definitely number 1, and I actually think it's shocking how much of it's number 1 in comparison like some like Blade Fury, which before I was like, oh, that's the best. No, this is like the best Titan super now. Being able to instantly weaken targets with those 3 axes and also be able to chunk damage is insane. I actually have a way to just like melt tormentors now like instantly, and it's actually insane how good this is. When it comes to our abilities, I'm going to recommend first off Rally Barricade instead of doing something like Thruster. The biggest reason is one of the aspects we're going to be using and how those two things interact. I'll kind of explain that here in a second, but no, Rally Barricade is probably your best option. Shield Throw is going to be our melee. Now, the biggest reason why I choose this over something like Frenzy Blade, everyone's like, oh, you get 3 uses of your powered melee, that's the best. Biggest reason is, one, this is an easy activation of Overshield, and it's got a very short time on the cooldown. Unfortunately, Frenzy Blade through Prismatic has over a 2.5 minute cooldown on it, which is really disgusting. So being able to have something where, one, it's going to give us that Overshield, which is also a light buff, which is going to kind of feed into some of our fragments, is really nice. Also for our grenade, Suppressor Grenade. Now again, this is one of those things where like going into our fragments, it's going to get even better, but I really do enjoy the fact that suppression is able to instantly take out overloads, and by take them out I mean stun them. This is going to just kind of feed into that end game section of the build where we're going to be focusing on like how do we deal with champs. In regards to our aspects, first up we're going to be using Diamond Lance. Now, big reason why we're using this is the fact that it's going to give us a darkness debuff for a good chunk of this build whenever we're using fragments and being able to feed into our transcendence bar. Transcendence is important for this setup because it's just going to make you just like all around better guardian. Also, the fact that Diamond Lances are able to intrinsically handle unstoppable and overload champions. Biggest reason for that, whenever you hit them with it for unstoppables, they will shatter, and that shatter is going to activate that unstoppable stun. And also, whenever you hit an overload, it's initially going to slow them first, so that's going to activate that overload stun. And our second aspect is going to be Dranger's Lash. Now, I was talking about why we're using the Rally Barricade. This is the biggest reason. Now, you can use Thruster with Dranger's Lash. I just really don't like it personally. Unfortunately, the knot of suspension that it creates is only on the spot that you are thrustering away from. So obviously, if you're using a melee focused build with this and you're like in the thick of it all the time and you thruster backwards, yeah, it's going to be like decent. But for this setup where it's a little bit more distance heavy, we are trying to just trying to stay back as far as we can and take advantage of that suspending ripple in reality that it's giving us. When it comes to the fragments, first up, Facet of Sacrifice. While you have an Arc Solar or Void buff, ability Final Blows grant bonus darkness. Now, the big reason why we like this is the fact that we are typically always going to have Radiant and also that Void on us, that Void Overshield, which is going to be a Void buff. Also, just, basically using our Precious Scars and getting kills is going to give us Restoration, which is a solar buff. So that means we're just going to be getting that extra darkness transcendence energy, so we can use that more often. Facet of Devotion, kind of in the same vein. Defeating targets afflicted with stasis or strand debuffs grant bonus light transcendence energy. Again, we're going to be constantly doing that with not only Diamond Lance, but also our Dranger's Lash. So this is a good way to kind of like add on to that. Facet of Dominance. Now, I really like this one. The first part of it is what's really going to be affecting us. Your Void Grenades weaken targets. So essentially, we're getting that Suppressor Grenade that's going to suppress targets while also weaken them. This is just really nice for just all around, just like damage. Especially against bosses and stuff like that. Facet of Solitude, landing rapid precision hits emits a severing blast. Now we really like this because again, Sever is going to ensure that like targets are going to be doing less damage all around, but also again, it's just going to feed into our Transcendence a little bit more. Facet of Protection, while surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage, and while Transcendent, the effect is increased. We just pretty much want to just try to, you know, have as much damage reduction in the setup, even though we are constantly getting that good healing from Restoration, from Precious Scars, and also getting that Void Overshield. There's going to be times where we're going to have a lot of enemies on us, so being able to just like have that easy damage reduction is really solid. And then finally, Facet of Bravery, defeating targets with grenade final blows grants volatile rounds for your void weapons. I am going to suggest using 2 void weapons we're going to talk about here in a second. So obviously this is a great one to do that, and also just kind of adds to like the overall ad clear of this build, but also just here it is. Volatile also helps you take out barrier champions. Now, some other weapons that you should be using, I'm recommending something like the Call. The Call has just become an absolute meta. I mean, even beyond S tier, this is like a top 3 PvE weapon right now, if not number 1. Because one, it's Strand's great. Rocket sidearms are absolutely insane right now, and also it's an easy way to just juice up the darkness side of Transcendence bar. I really recommend this role that I have on it currently, using Demolitionist and Hatchling. Demolitionist, so that we are essentially just generating more of that grenade energy for that suppression and weakening grenade, and also Hatchling, so that we're able to take advantage of those little hatchlings that are going to go around and kind of just like again feed into our darkness side of our Transcendence bar. Also, I am using the Edge Transit because it's just like absolutely stupid. It's just gonna melt everybody, melt their dad, their mom, their grandma, their uncle. This is just a really solid weapon. Now let's look at all the mods we're gonna be using for this setup. First up on our helmet, I recommend the Heavy Ammo Finder, so that you're able to take advantage of that heavy a little bit more often. Obviously, you can swap this out for like a special ammo finder if you just like notice yourself using your call more, but it's really not too worrisome in my opinion. A Harmonic Siphon, so you're able to get some more orbs of power from all those Graviton Lance kills, and also Ashes Assets, so that you're getting some more super energy whenever you get kills with that grenade. On our gloves, I'm using 1 firepower, mainly just so I can take advantage of some like extra orbs here and there. Do know with only 1 firepower, it's gonna have a 10-second cooldown, but honestly, I don't think you're throwing a grenade like every 5 seconds. 10 seconds makes sense to me, so it's not too bad. Momentum transfer, so whenever we do damage with our grenade, we're gonna get some more melee energy back. And then bolt turning detonation, kind of the same thing, but just for our class ability whenever we do damage with a grenade. Chest piece, just kind of fill that in however you need it when in regards to you know, resistance mods and stuff like that. On our legs, I'm using a double void surge, so I'm getting that 17% extra void damage whenever I have an armor charge. You're gonna have 3 of those. They're gonna last about 30 seconds in total between all 3 charges, so just keep that in mind. But you should be consistently having orbs of power just kind of sitting around, no worries about that. And then also recuperation, so that we're able to get some health back whenever we pick up an orb of power. Again, this is one I kind of more recommend for that end game setup, because yeah, it's great to have that restoration all the time, but sometimes picking an orb of power in the thick of it can be really nice. And then when it comes to our Titan Mark, I'm using a bomber, so that whenever I use my class ability near targets, I'm gonna get some of that grenade energy back. Reaper, so that I'm able to get an orb of power whenever I activate my barrier and then get a kill right afterwards. And then Powerful Attraction, so I'm able to pull in all those orbs around me while I use my class ability. Now, when it comes to the artifact and everything you're gonna be doing here, obviously you want Anti-Barrier Pulse for your Graviton Lance and Unstoppable Sidearm for your the Call. In the second column, Overcharged Armory and Winning Hand for your Call, giving that Dealer's Choice origin trait a bit of a juice. In the third column, Elemental Siphon, so that you're able to get a Void Breach whenever you get a kill with your Graviton Lance. Press the advantage, so that you're able to get a little bit extra just like handling, stability, and reload speed for your weapon after breaking a shield. And then the Threadling Blast is actually super huge for your Call. Whenever you shoot a tangle that's in the air, it's essentially going to be kind of like those old War Mine cells. It's going to just have this just absolute devastating explosion, so definitely take advantage of that. In that fourth column, Void Hegemony. While you have Void or Prismatic subclass equipped, defeating weakened targets provides a small overshield. Obviously, we're going to be taking advantage of that a lot, not only from our super, but also that grenade and Radiant Orb, so that whenever we pick up more power, we're also going to become Radiant. And in the final column, Expanding Abyss. I like this one a lot because, again, we're going to be taking big advantage of that weakening suppression grenade. So that means our void damage is going to be a whole lot more. So, you know, throw this at a subjugator, a lucent high bear, a boss, whatever, and then just unload with your whatever void heavy is. And then finally, Transference. Gain increased grenade and melee energy while Transcendence, and then your final blows with a weapon while Transcendence is going to give you more light and dark energy. Again, this is going to help us feed into just constantly keeping up that Transcendence. Now, I always like to talk about how this is going to be valuable against champs and everything in endgame content. First up, Barrier. Obviously, our Pulse is already going to be doing that, but we're also going to be able to take advantage of volatile rounds with our Graviton Lance, so obviously have fun with that. Unstoppables, obviously our sidearm's going to do that, but we're also going to be able to take advantage of Shatter and Suspend with this setup from our Diamond Lance, as well as that Drinker's Lash. And then finally, Overload. The biggest thing we're going to do here, again, is going to be that Void Suppression Grenade or that Stasis Slow with Diamond Lance. So again, have fun with that. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Again, let me know something down below that you're interested in seeing, and also check out the dim link that is down below in the description so that you're able to get this set up for yourself. Give a like on the video, subscribe, become a member, and follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Byrdman778. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.